And we're live. Welcome back to the Windsor Wednesday show. I'm so excited to introduce this week's guests. And if you are watching the Windsor Wednesday show, each week we go live with faculty, staff, alumnus, and also students from the University of Windsor campus to share their story and also provide advice for incoming students. So on the top right, you'll notice is Dr. Jeremy Worth. He is Associate Professor of French Studies and also coordinator of concurrent BA and B.Ed curriculum at the University of Windsor. Down below, we have Vanessa Bumanlag. Vanessa is the Welcome Week event coordinator working at the University of Windsor this summer, and she's also a Bachelor of Arts student who is minoring in psychology and majoring in criminology. So thank you for joining the show, Vanessa. And down on the right, we have Zach Nantais. Zach is a honors graduate student, just graduated business administration, and he minored in economics. So thank you all for joining the show. And I appreciate your time. If anyone does have any questions throughout the live stream, please feel free to put them in the comments below. So to get started, Dr. Worth, I have to ask, you're a associate professor in French studies. What are some of the courses that you are teaching in this program?
Right. Well, are you sitting comfortably? I'll get started. Well, I mean, just to give you a bit of background, the program itself covers the areas of advanced French language training, French and Francophone literatures and cultures, linguistics with all its major subfields, translation and oral proficiency. And within the areas of literature and culture, we cover Quebec and Francophone Canada, Europe, the Maghreb and the Middle East, and Sub-Saharan Africa. And my own teaching areas in particular, beyond the language and composition training, are the literature and ideas of France in particular. So, for example, I teach courses on the French Enlightenment, French Romanticism, realist and naturalist fiction, symbolist, avant-garde and surrealist poetry. And outside those literary periods and movements, I teach the modern French culture course. So that's a course that gives a detailed overview of things like the most important socio-political aspects of modern France, French technology, commerce, media, music, cinema, that sort of thing. And then also a section of the first year Introduction to Literary Studies course, which provides a theory and methodology toolbox for subsequent literature courses. And then I often teach the 3000 level literary critical theory course, and finally sometimes also a senior special topic seminar on a very specific literary subject.
Excellent. Now, Dr. Worth, if there's a student that's interested in taking a French course to broaden their horizons, get their feet wet, what is a course that you'd recommend that they would take?
Well, provided that students have the grade 12U prerequisite, then that prerequisite gives access to Language Training 1, which is a intensive grammar review, and also to the Introduction to Literary Studies course that I just mentioned, which is the toolbox course for literary analysis and such like. And those are the two that anybody with grade 12U French prerequisite can get into. So quite often that's when students come to us for minors, they start with one or both of those.
Fantastic. Thank you. So Zach, I'm curious to know, why did you decide to minor in economics? You just graduated from the program. Why did you choose to minor in economics?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Lyndon. So originally it's because I had the chance to take an economics class in high school, and I really liked what I saw in that course, and it really made me decide that I wanted to learn more about economics. So I'd already decided that I was going to major in business here at the university. So I decided that, hey, I can partner this economics minor with my business major as a really good complement, because you learn a lot of different policies and theories and stuff in the business program. So then having that like real world application with economics was a really good complement. And as well, personally, I just wanted to learn more about economics because it's really present in our society as a whole in things we don't even realize. So just having that personal knowledge was something that I wanted to have.
Awesome. What would you say would be one of the courses that you really enjoyed when you're doing your minor in economics?
Yeah, I think my favorite course was probably the first one that you have to take, which is the Introduction to Microeconomics. And I had a really amazing professor. Professor Batu was amazing for that class, and it really sparked my interest in economics.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So Vanessa, I'm curious to know, why did you decide to concentrate in psychology and criminology? You're doing a minor in psych and a major in crim during your undergrad. How come you chose those two paths?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for having me on the show. It's awesome. I get to share my experience that I had here at the university. It's actually kind of funny. I always kind of knew as a kid that I wanted to go into criminology or law and politics, because I used to watch a lot of CSI as like a kid, which I know not a lot of children shouldn't be watching that. But I was really interested in it as a kid, and I realized that I had a really strong passion for the social sciences. I realized that like I loved learning about the different theories, learning how to like inflict change in the world, especially with everything going on in the recent events as well. I want to be an advocate for the future. So I decided to take my criminology and my psychology degree to the University of Windsor. I was actually able, kind of like what Zach said, I was able to take some classes in my high school career at Assumption College. And it really kind of set the basis for me in order to succeed here at the university. I realized that like I love being very active in terms of like the sciences, but I also like the social aspect of it. So the reason why I went into social sciences was because I was able to get that experience and to kind of jumpstart my career in terms of going into like law or politics or even psychology. A lot of criminology students, I highly recommend you doing like a psychology minor with your criminology degree, because a lot of like the theories and a lot of like the ideas that we talk about are interlinked between the two courses. So it's a great supplementary to your actual degree as well. So yeah, that was kind of the reason why I wanted to be a criminologist or study criminology at the university. I also had a lot of my sister's friends who are older than me go into criminology, and they had nothing but amazing things to say about the courses that we offer here at the university. So needless to say, I made a very, very good decision. I highly recommend the FOSS department here at the university.
Excellent. Now, Vanessa, what are some career paths you're considering after you complete your degree?
It's awesome that you asked that. So I'm starting to think more about that now that I'm going into my third year. So some of the things that I was thinking about was, I don't know if anyone knows this, but you're actually able to apply for a private investigator license with Ontario. So I might be taking that after my 4-year. I'm also considering about doing a master's degree. I know the master's degree in criminology is an amazing program, and it offers a lot of different job opportunities as well. And then from there, you can even do a master's of business administration as well. And then my fourth option I was going to do as well is I'm going to try to apply myself for law school at the university, because I've also heard amazing things about that as well. I know that you have to study a little bit for the LSAT too, so there's never a bad time to start studying for that. If I could go back, if I knew what I wanted to do in my first year, I would start studying for that in my first year. But now I'm catching up on all that studying and all that planning that I need to do in order to succeed. But once again, there's lots of options. My personal option is I would like to continue my school even further. But for other students, you can even volunteer at nonprofits to kind of get your foot in the door, which is kind of what I'm doing as well, and making sure that you're networking with your degree in your academic field as well.
Thank you, Vanessa, and I wish you all the best with pursuing investigations after university. Appreciate you sharing that. Jumping over to you, Dr. Worth, what is so far your favorite memory at the University of Windsor? I know you've been here for about 14 years, if I'm correct. What is a favorite memory you've had so far?
Well, that's a hard one. I haven't been able to come up with just one between the different areas of the job. On the teaching related side of things, though, there's great stuff every year. Obviously, like seeing students start their careers, going on, some of them, to postgraduate studies. I've always loved, for example, attending convocation. That's always a high point in the year. But the particular things that stick in the mind are often less predictable, such as when you suddenly realize that, and this happens sometimes, you suddenly realize that a student has found something in what you're teaching that really strikes a chord, something which will hopefully remain meaningful to them. Another is when one of those students who for weeks, months, or longer has seemed pretty uninterested and has perhaps performed poorly, when that student suddenly starts pulling threads together and showing their new interest in the material. I mean, there's there's nothing better for profs than that, really. And something else that gives me pleasure is when a former student suddenly sends a text or an email, sometimes years later, to say something like, remember when we were discussing this novel or that poem, and there was such and such a representation or image in it that we were unpacking in the class. Can you remind me of how we expressed that, or what the term we used was for that, and so on? And clearly that question has relevance to something that former students reading or doing or teaching in their own classrooms, or even just thinking about. And that something seems to have triggered a memory of a particular university class or lecture. And that sort of thing always makes my day, because it means that, you know, it's still there. So that would be the best answer I can give. It's that any one memory, that would be tough.
Awesome. And you talked about how students click in and during your classes, and they're really invested into what you're teaching. How do you make the students interested in your course content?
Well, I mean, it's if the material doesn't click, I mean, not everything that one teaches clicks with all of the students. So I mean, it's not something that one has complete control over. But I think the question is relevance. You try to make it relevant to our lived experience now in the 21st century. Human experience being a universal thing across time, you know, and I think that's the best that one can do, and try to see it from the student's perspective while one is teaching it, I think is probably the answer to that.
Thank you. Zach, I'm curious to know, what were some clubs that you were involved with at Odette while you were at the Odette School of Business during your undergrad that you would recommend other students could join?
So yeah, while I was at Odette, I did have the chance to join a few clubs there. One that I really recommend that students look at is Nantais Windsor. So Nantais Windsor, I had the chance to volunteer with them as a Youth Thrive mentor. So basically that meant that I went into the grade schools, a specific grade school in Windsor, Essex, and I was able to help mentor the students there to start their own micro businesses. So that means that we went through a program of teaching them with PowerPoints and different presentation skills. And then at the end of the program, they were actually able to start their own businesses and start selling real products in the community. So that was a really cool opportunity to have to mentor those students. As well, another club that's really dear to me is OLI, which is the Odette High School Leadership Initiative. So this is a program that goes into high schools in the Windsor, Essex area and teaches them presentation skills and analyzing case studies. And I actually had the chance to go through this program while I was in high school, and it was a major factor in me deciding to go and study business. As well, I also helped to run the club while I was at Odette. So this is something that I recommend students join, definitely.
So from OLI and also Nantais Windsor, what were some big takeaways for you that maybe some lessons that you've learned from being on those clubs? What were some things that you take away and that you can bring to the workforce?
I would say that one of the biggest things that I learned is how to work with other people and to network. Because you can go to university and just go to school and go to the classes and then go home and you'll still get your degree. But if you really want to meet people and make meaningful connections, I think it's really important to get involved. Because I think about all the friends and the people that I met while I was at university, and almost all of them were people that I met volunteering around the university or joining clubs. So just really when you graduate, to have that network of people that know you and that know the skills and the abilities that you bring after having worked with you on these real life experience events is definitely something that I think every student should try and do.
Yes, definitely. And for more information, please check out OLI and Nantais Windsor. Search them up on Google. Yes. They'll be there for you to check out for more information. Now, Vanessa, I want to switch over to you and your Welcome Week event coordinator. Welcome Week's definitely looking a bit different this year because of the pandemic, but what can students look forward to? I know there's some great things that are being planned right now.
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, I'm your Welcome Week event coordinator for this year. It's an amazing position, and I'm so excited to present everything to you guys. So we just finished up Head Start orientation, but don't fret for our first years. We do have program orientation happening on Wednesday, September 9th as well. So I'm so excited to do that. Yeah, so everything regarding Welcome Week is going to look a lot different. Obviously, we want to make sure the students are safe as well as our staff members. So everything is online for this year. I was actually in charge of actually planning the events this year. So I believe that we released the schedule already, so I can kind of talk a little bit more freely about it. So some of the events that I'm personally putting on is we're doing a trivia night. And for those who don't know, we're actually doing like a movie themed kind of welcome week. So the trivia night is going to be called Be Our Guest. So if anyone knows where that's from, it's going to be based off Disney and Pixar. And then another event that I am hosting as well, it's called the Slice of Life, the Layers of University, which is a cake baking contest. So there's some awesome prizes that our students can win, and we're going to ship them out to them as well. I was in charge of putting all the prizes together. So that we have like AirPods, we got some like Apple Watches. So it's a lot of really cool things. And then in addition, we also have a guest speaker that's coming up as well. Very known person in Canada, so we're very excited to be collaborating with them. We also have a program orientation day, which is what I really recommend first year students to go to, because it changed and helped me in my first year. So I want to make sure the students get the exact same treatment that I did in first year in terms of succeeding, because it is a very difficult transition, even with the online learning environment right now as well. We also have a self-care day where we're going to do some self-care scavenger hunts on our UWin website. We're also going to be doing some yoga nights as well. So it's going to be a very chill, relaxing kind of thing. And we're going to be using a lot of social media. So we got some really cool social media challenges for our students. So it's very inclusive. So if we do have any international students who are a bit worried about like the time zone, for an example, they can still participate with the passive challenges that are passive programming that we have in place throughout the week as well.
Fantastic. It sounds like a busy schedule for Welcome Week. I'm so glad everything's still able to take place. Now, Vanessa, is it going to be all online?
Yeah, so everything's going to be online. If you go to the UWindsor Welcome Week page, we will be posting joining instructions, because a majority of it is going to be on Zoom. And then you'll just kind of see all the updates. If you want, you can go to the App Store as well and download our app as well, so you can see all of the events, all of our winners, and even all of the prizes that we have.
Cool. I'm excited. Thank you. And our favorite question, we ask this on every show, is why are you UWinProud? Dr. Worth, we'll have you go first.
Right. Well, I mean, there's so much. I'll keep it short because I know that time is metered. I'm proud of so much. I'm proud of the programs that we offer. I'm proud of Windsor's role as an international exchange partner. I'm so proud of what all our students go on to do. I'm proud just of the great diversity of career paths that I see them follow, which to me seemed to indicate that it was a balanced undergraduate education. But I suppose at the moment, I'd have to say that I'm just terrifically proud and humbled by our former students who are now teachers, and whose wisdom, courage and maturity I'm seeing every day on social media and elsewhere in how they're coping with the COVID crisis.
Thank you. Vanessa, I'm curious to know, what are some things that make you UWinProud?
I think it's just the environment that I think I surround myself in. Like the way that I was I'm actually from Windsor, and like a lot of people kind of have that like, oh, you're staying in your hometown, like you're not going away. It was actually one of the best decisions that I've had in my life. The University of Windsor offered me so many different opportunities and ways for me to network within my field, as well as getting hands-on experience in my academic field as well. So just the amount of opportunities that I was given throughout my past even 2 years, because I'm going into my third year, I've been able to do different programs. I was able to get experience as a personal support worker with the VIP program. I've also been able to be a part of like the LEAD program, which is a medallion that you get at graduation, which I'm trying to work towards as well. So that's a great way to get involved on campus. And just getting involved, like what Zach was saying prior as well, with different clubs and organizations and societies. I've been actually able to fundraise like over $5,000 for different organizations with the Black Lives Matter movement. The Criminology Association actually raised close to $3,000 for that as well. So it gives you kind of that jump start to get ahead and get those networks, as well as trying to fundraise for different initiatives on campus and outside of campus. So like I said, I'm very UWindsor proud. The opportunities the University of Windsor has to offer for all students, not even just FOSS students, is amazing. And I'm so glad I made my decision to stay at home, because it's an amazing opportunity to be a part of such a university that cares so much about their students.
Thank you, Vanessa. I'm so glad you did decide to choose UWindsor and all the great things that you are doing in the community. So thank you for sharing. Zach, we'll leave it with you. Why are you UWinProud?
Yeah, so there's basically two things that I would highlight here. The first one is the atmosphere that's created around campus, and the second one is as Dr. Worth mentioned, the student exchange program. So the first one with the atmosphere, it's just the professors really create a really welcoming atmosphere. I had the chance to get really close with a few professors around campus, whether it was through taking courses with them or being a teaching assistant for them. And they're really always open for discussions or to give you advice or really anything that you need to help you succeed. I actually ended up almost living in the Odette building for a few days, because it's just such a welcoming atmosphere that you just don't want to go home, because you have friends there and it's an amazing place to be. And the second thing is this exchange program. So 2 years ago, I had the chance to do a student exchange in Sweden. And that was such a once in a lifetime opportunity that I wouldn't have had the chance to do otherwise. And if students are really interested in pushing themselves out of their comfort zone and learning about themselves, as well as living in another country, I definitely recommend that they try out the student exchange program.
Fantastic. Thank you, Zach, for providing that answer to your UWin story. I'm so glad the exchange had such an impact on you. And thank you all for watching the show today. If you do have any other questions, please put them in the comments. We would love to answer them. And thank you so much for joining us today on the Windsor Wednesday show. Happy Windsor Wednesday.